Hi guys. So I just shot the first one I want to call my better video quality anyways, with about the how to install an SSD. So I'm just swapping out that drive because obviously I don't want this laptop to have an SSD in it. It is actually a hunk of junk, this computer, noted by the gateway. So I got my PMY SSD back out, and I just wanted to go over my goals of this channel. I want to make tech videos. I like making funny tech videos sometimes I want to make serious ones, and I'm kind of lacking on the gear. I'm actually recording this on a webcam. I did get some lights though, so maybe I could show you. Yeah, there you go. For this, great, now my shadows are all messed up. Try to make it look a little better, but yeah, so I'm trying to make it a little bit better. I wanted to take a second to talk about tech. So we just got the Intel i9 out, the 9900K, and the new Coffee Lake Gen 2, we'll call it, processors. Because I was looking at them because I edit all this stuff on an 8600K, and it's not the easiest thing to do on an 8600K, believe it or not. Even though 8600K is actually a really good processor that Intel put out, thanks to AMD. So, sorry. Let's talk about the new 9th gen Intel processor, shall we? So how good are they? We just got some benchmarks out not long ago, it seems, because they're starting to show up on Userbench, which Userbench says not that much different. Let me see if I can set up real quick a here we go, window capture. No, it's not window capture. I need display capture to go over. There we go. These processors. You should be seeing this right now. Let's see. Let me make OBS a little smaller. Let's see. Can you see this? Yes, you can. So let's talk about the 9th gen Intel processors and how they size up to 8th gen. So what I do when I compare processors is I don't even type that in. 9600K versus 8600K. First thing that comes up usually is Userbench. This site is actually really good to compare stuff to. This is upsetting me because I wanted to upgrade to an i7 9700K, and then I see crap like this. This is awful for a generation increase. Effective speed 2% better, and this is if I understand how the site works, is people report in their benchmark scores, and this is what they get. So we're talking very small difference. The only thing that's different about the 9th gen and the 8th gen, from what I'm gathering, I mean, look, even though that is just nothing compared to, they're the same. They couldn't even get the clock up a little bit. They basically soldered on the IHS, which is, if you didn't know, the heat spreader on top of the processor that gets the heat off the core. And that's about it. They soldered it on to make better clock speeds. So this is between these two. Alright, well, maybe the i7 9700K is a little bit better. So what I do is go 9700K, we'll compare it to the 8600K, just to show maybe it's a huge jump between those two. Basically, well, this looks familiar. Huh. Look at these scores. Okay, so an 8600K... Whoops, hold on, that's the wrong score. Well, I'll show this anyways, between these two. 9% better over that, but that's not what I was trying to do. I was actually trying to show this jump. 12% over... Yeah, that's one. the i5 8600K. Now, this is what I want to point out. So this is the i7 9700K versus the 8600K. This is what I was looking at. I wanted to jump up to the new i7 9th gen processor, which, by the way, this processor is scarce, which means it's expensive. You have 8 cores, 8 threads at 3.6 base clock. Well, if I take this over here, well, let's look at the 8700K. 6 cores, 12 threads. I get more threads. So, yeah, I get two less cores, but I get 12 threads. But this is about the same damn thing. I'm gonna get 96% workstation speeds versus that. So that's the bump I'm looking for. I want more workstation. And if I compare that to the 9700K, where are you at? Right there. This is just an insult. Which this site reports that the 9700K is $621 because it's scarce. What the heck is this? So it's a little bit better in gaming because the solder is going to help that out for heat. Which, if you've looked at anything about the heat problem with their soldering, is they didn't do a good job. What the crap? No difference. Practically no difference. And we'll call this is like margin of error, practically. Value. Insane. So basically, in conclusion, with my rant on this, there is no reason to get 9th gen, is what I'm gathering. It's soldered, and I can't show you this on a website, but I can tell you about it. Look, if you really wanted those things to run cooler, you could just liquid metal the crap. You could delid the 8th gen, because it's still, thermal paste at that point. You could delid 9th gen too, but you have a problem where you're scraping off solder. A lot higher risk of breaking your processor, because you have to clean off the solder with like a razor blade or something insane. Versus 8th gen, you can delid that and then just put liquid metal on it if you really cared about that extra thermal headroom, and it outperforms it, because this margin right here just seems to me like they just did solder. And a lot of gripes over loss of hyperthreading. Yeah, you get 8 cores and 8 threads. That's still a lot if you think about it. That would have been hyperthreading on, let me see if I can find an older one where it was still 4 cores. Well, this one should have been 4 cores. See, we can call it hyperthreading compared to, an older processor here, but the problem here is we were beyond that. I had 12 threads on 8th gen, and now I have 8. So it's a gripe, loss of hyperthreading. There was no reason for it. I guess they just had to kind of, make it more appealing to this one. Make the 9900K seem better because it had hyperthreading. Now it's at 16 thread count. But that's 9.9. As an i7 comparison, a 9th gen just isn't there. Maybe better luck next time. The gains are just insignificant, what little gain it was, and maybe on the next processor series they get the soldering down, because if they can get it to a point where the solder was just so good that delidding was no longer an option, because that was what everyone was thinking about with this new solder that they were putting on the 9th gen processors, is delidding wouldn't be a thing anymore, and it turned out it still is a thing. Thermals is still an issue with Intel. I'm sure it's a little bit better than the thermal paste. I haven't really looked at that comparison yet, how much better it is over thermal paste, but if you keep up with Dare Bauer, he basically said it's clocking down because of heat. So obviously he's stressing it a lot more, but it's still thermal headroom, ideally would never be an issue. But that's my quick quick bit on this. Here's what I was looking at. This is what I've been waiting on 9th Gen for, because I wanted to see if it would be much better, and I was so stoked on the solder. That was the main thing I was looking forward to. But there it is. From the numbers I look at when I compare, just nothing. And thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it.